Hi. Do your stepchildren feel abandoned by their parent now you've become a new step family? Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, and I'll let you know every time I post. When you come together with a new partner, you invent a life that's yours, new. You do things together that you enjoy, and life becomes good, and you feel as though you've got a friend and a partner and somebody to share life with. That's great. But not only are you thrilled for each other and for yourself, but you're also thrilled for the children, because often they've been through a tricky period. I don't know, maybe there's been a divorce, maybe there's been a death. There's been a transition time, certainly. And you could be happy to welcome in your partner's children to your new life and your new adventures, and want the family to be whole in some way again. Now, stepchildren often say that their parents change beyond recognition when they've met somebody new. Stepchildren can sometimes say something like, now that my parent has found a new partner, they have abandoned us. And it's not that they've abandoned the stepchildren or their children. It's that they have changed and moved on. And when you're getting to the end of a relationship through a divorce, or you've experienced the death of a spouse, there is a point at which time comes when you say you are ready to move on and you want to move on. But often, your partner's children, as a result of you partnering with them, are not ready to move on. And not only do they feel abandoned by their parent, but they feel you have taken them away. Now, the point here is really not, well, that shouldn't happen, but what can you do about it? And what can you do about it as the step-parent? Well, first of all, it's worth saying that this can be extremely disappointing for you, the step-parent. You had thought things would be good. You expected the relationship to be perfectly fine. It can start out being perfectly fine until you become their parent's partner officially, and it's not. And this can be a huge disappointment, because you want to make this family whole again. You want it to be good. But they push back, and they can be quite resilient in their pushing back. It can become quite nasty in a way. They can be really not pulling the other way and sabotaging anything you're trying to put together to make the family good again. It can sort of not make sense. But put through the lens of the stepchild, think for a moment what the stepchild is witnessing and experiencing, how their parent is changing in ways they had never thought possible. And if in fact they can change this much now, why couldn't they have changed earlier in the case of a divorce? So the first thing is to realize that this is about your stepchild's grief and not about you. And secondly, that your job is to, if you want to make the step-children incorporated into your new family, you need to start from where they are, and that might be in a position where they are not wanting stuff to begin with. So the more you try and put things together that are good, the less they want them. And so, to develop a relationship with each of the stepchildren, if possible, on a one-to-one basis, based on where they are now, helping them to make their next steps forward, and not try to be too ambitious and have too many expectations about how wonderful it can be or how enjoyable they will think something is, when actually they're pulling the other way and want to dismantle it and sabotage it. So start from where they are, and it takes patience on the behalf of the step parent and partner. Sometimes you need to go slower than you would have wanted to go, and make allowances and allow for people to not participate in things, or not want to come, or not be involved in something. It's about being compatible with the pace they want to go with, slightly. Just having that in mind will help, because you're so full of enthusiasm for the future. You just want to bring everybody along with you. And if you're finding that's not the case, you've got to slow it down and give people choices. And finally, have a look at some of the, and we'll call them routines and rituals. By that I mean, what was their pattern of their life like before? Did they always go on holiday somewhere repeatedly, year after year, and now you're not doing that? Or did they do something with their parent that now they're not doing? Or what are the routines and rituals around things like festival days, Christmas, birthdays? It's worth looking at some of those and seeing if it would help to keep some of those rituals in place. So it is a question for you is to work out what those routines and rituals were, for example. How was Christmas Day for them? How did they celebrate their birthdays? What happened first? What happened second? What happened about friends? What happened about presents? Work out what the routines and rituals were for something, and think about keeping some of them in place. That can help a lot. And finally, if you're having trouble with stepchildren who think that their parents have changed beyond recognition, or that's what you think they think, then carve out some sacred time on a regular basis for them to spend with their parent alone. Even half an hour a month. More if you can, more would be better. But honestly, it doesn't have to be much. Give your stepchildren some undivided, pre-planned, repetitive time alone with their parent to engage in the kind of relationship they had before. And that can help hugely. Or indeed, if they are used to going repetitively to the same holiday year after year, why don't you allow them to do that alone and do something of your own for a week in a year? Something like that can really, really help. I cannot tell you how important this can be for the stepchild to make that transition. And it is worth your while doing this for the sake of yourself in this step family. We run workshops, sessions, an email response service, and we write booklets. Look at the description box below for links to our social media and website.